World-famous bikes have played a significant role in shaping motorcycle history, culture, and technology. From iconic brands with rich legacies to groundbreaking models that have pushed the boundaries of engineering and design, these bikes have captured the imaginations of riders and enthusiasts worldwide. In this extensive essay, we will explore a diverse selection of world-famous bikes, covering various categories such as cruisers, sport bikes, touring motorcycles, adventure bikes, and more. 1. Harley-Davidson. No list of world-famous bikes would be complete without mentioning Harley-Davidson, an American icon in the motorcycle industry. Established in 1903, Harley-Davidson has become synonymous with heavyweight cruisers, characterized by their distinctive V-twin engines, rumbling exhaust notes, and timeless designs. The Harley-Davidson brand has cultivated a devoted following and a rich culture, with riders often forming close-knit communities around their shared passion for these machines. 2. Honda Goldwing. Honda's Goldwing series is renowned for its luxurious touring motorcycles. Introduced in 1974, the Goldwing revolutionized long-distance travel on two wheels, offering unmatched comfort, reliability, and a host of amenities. Over the years, Honda has continuously refined the Goldwing, equipping it with advanced technology and features. 3. BMW GS Series. BMW's GS, Gel-Int/Strafe series has become synonymous with adventure touring. Introduced in 1980 with the BMW R80G/S, this series transformed the way people viewed long-distance travel on motorcycles. The GS bikes combine the off-road capabilities of enduro bikes with the comfort and performance of road motorcycles. 4. Ducati Panigale. For those seeking pure performance and track-focused excellence, Ducati's Panigale series stands out as a world-famous line of superbikes. Introduced in 2011, the Ducati 1199 Panigale stunned the motorcycle world with its powerful 1,198 engine, monocoque frame, and aggressive styling. 5. Yamaha IZF R1. Yamaha's IZF R1 is another legendary sport bike that has made a lasting impact on the motorcycle industry. Introduced in 1998, the R1 quickly gained a reputation for its outstanding performance, handling, and aerodynamics. It was often at the forefront of technological innovations, including the use of fly-by-wire throttle and advanced electronics. 6. Kawasaki Ninja. Kawasaki's Ninja series has been a dominant force in the sport bike market for decades. Starting with the Kawasaki GPZ 900R in the 1980s, the Ninja line evolved to include various models, each offering a unique blend of performance style. 7. Suzuki Hayabusa. The Suzuki Hayabusa, often referred to simply as the Busa, is a name that commands respect in the motorcycle world. Introduced in 1999, the Hayabusa was designed with one purpose in mind: to be the fastest production motorcycle on the planet. With its 1,300 engine, aerodynamic bodywork, and top-notch engineering, the Hayabusa achieved that goal. 8. Triumph Bonneville. Triumph's Bonneville series holds a special plot motorcycle enthusiast worldwide. Named after the famous Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, where numerous land speed records have been set, this classic British motorcycle first hit the roads in the 1960s. 9. Indian Chief. Indian Motorcycles, one of the oldest motorcycle manufacturers in the world, has a storied history dating back to 1901. The Indian Chief is a series of cruisers that harkens back to the brand's early days and showcases its heritage in a modern package. The Indian Chief motorcycles boast classic styling, powerful engines, and premium features, attracting riders looking for a blend of tradition and modernity. The revival of the Indian brand in the 21st century has garnered significant attention and admiration from riders seeking an alternative to the Harley-Davidson dominance in the cruiser segment. 10. KTM Duke. KTM's Duke series has redefined the concept of naked street motorcycles. Introduced in 1994 with the KTM 620 Duke, the series set new standards for aggressive styling, lightweight construction, and nimble handling. The KTM Duke models cater to both novice riders and experienced enthusiasts, offering a wide range of engine displacements. From the entry-level 125 Duke to the powerful 1290 Super Duke R, each Duke model retains KTM's signature design language and exhilarating performance. In conclusion, the world of motorcycles boasts a rich tapestry of famous bikes that have contributed to the growth and allure of motorcycling. From the thundering cruisers of Harley-Davidson to the adrenaline-inducing sport bikes, like the Ducati Pawnee Gale and Yamaha IZF R1, these bikes have shaped motorcycle culture and influenced generations of riders. Whether it's the sense of freedom on the open road or the thrill of conquering challenging terrains,